Winter is here. And for those of you that have been too preoccupied by the Season 8 premiere of Game of Thrones to pay attention to Bronco athletics, well, don't worry. We've got you covered. I'm Jerod Fox alongside the greatest free safety on the face of the planet, DaeRon Jones.
Happy to be here, my guy.
Well, we'll jump right into things, and it's been a tough span for the Bronco athletics from the end of March to the beginning of April, losing two major coaches from a couple of the most successful teams on campus. Women's soccer coach Chris Clements stepped down from his position on March 25th to become the head coach at NCAA Division II Minot State University in North Dakota. Clements leaves behind an impressive legacy as one of the coaching greats at Hastings College. All 5 of his teams qualified for the NAIA National Championship, winning 4 GPAC regular season titles, 2 GPAC tournament titles, and coaching 3 GPAC offensive and defensive players of the year, while garnering an 81, 17, and 10 record in just 5 seasons. With his final season at HC being quite a memorable one, finishing the regular season undefeated and earning the GPAC regular season and postseason titles, while also advancing to the NAIA National Championship final site in Orange Beach, Alabama.
Exactly a week later, the news broke that another coach legend at HC would be leaving for a bigger school, and that was volleyball head coach Matt Buttermore, who stepped down on April 1st after 7 years at the helm to take the head coaching job at NCAA Division I University of Nebraska-Omaha, showing just how high caliber of a coach he is. Buttermore's legacy at Hastings College will be one that will stick with the college for a very long time, coming in and taking on an already impressive program to heights never before seen. Competing in arguably the toughest volleyball conference in the nation, Buttermore garnered 3 GPAC regular season titles, 2 GPAC tournament titles, 2 Libero of the Year awards, 1 NAIA Coach of the Year award, and capped it off with his biggest accomplishment, a national championship in his 2016 season.
Both announcements came as a surprise on campus and have left players in shock and the athletic office scrambling for 2 new coaches to fill those massive shoes this coming August.
It's your worst nightmare. It's, it's happy, it's sad, all at the same time. But I think it's just the way the business is. So hopefully within the next 7 to 10 days, we'll have somebody hired. Volleyball is probably on a little bit different track just because of how consumed we are right now with the soccer search. We're in the process right now of putting a list together. I know we've already got 2 or 3 folks that have expressed an interest, and we've got a short list that we're making some phone calls on to see if we can generate even more interest. So to answer your question, I'm hoping within a 2-week time period before they finish spring ball here that we'll have somebody named.
The volleyball team opens next season at home on August 21st against Corbin, who advanced into the round of 16 in this season's NAIA National Championship, while the women's soccer team awaits their schedule for next season. 2 tough situations for 2 stellar teams. Gotta hope that both will be able to continue on their previous successes with new coaches at the helm.
You also have to think, with 2 high-caliber programs as these 2, they should be able to bring in 2 high-quality coaches. Stay tuned to CTV and CTV Sports for stories on the new coaches, hopefully coming within the next few weeks. Speaking of successful programs, the men's and women's track and field teams were in action over the weekend at the UNK Loper Invite, a meet originally planned for Friday and Saturday, but due to weather conditions, the meet was pushed all into one day on Sunday. The women had many impressive individual results on the day in Kearney, finishing with 4 gold medals, 3 silver medals, and 9 bronze medals. A part of those 4 gold medals was the 4x1 team, made up of Shannon Cunningham, Maddie Moran, Julia Wilson, and Daisy Masoner, finishing with an A standard qualifying time of 47.63 seconds. Wilson also added another gold to the medal count with the first place finish in the 200-meter dash with a time of 25.51 seconds. Keely Parrish recorded the 3rd gold medal on the day as she threw a mark of 46.91 meters in the discus, while Abigail Collingham took gold in the pole vault with a vault of 3.5 meters. Also placing in the pole vault was Josie Peterson, who took 2nd with the same vault of 3.5 meters. Other impressive finishes included Keely Parrish, who took 2nd in the hammer throw with a mark of 54.13 meters. While Hastings almost swept the competition in the 100-meter dash, the Broncos taking 2nd through 6th place, with Shannon Cunningham taking 2nd with a time of 12.17 seconds, and Maddie Moran taking 3rd with a time of 12.39 seconds.
The men also had a good day of their own, taking home 3 gold medals, 5 silvers, and 2 bronze, as the 4x1 team for the men gave the Broncos a sweep in that race. The team comprised of Lane Nicely, Phelan Sanford, Ty Johnson, and Cole Schmidt took first with a time of 42.8 seconds. Schmidt also took first place in the long jump with a leap of 6.76 meters, as well as second in the triple jump with a bound of 13.48 meters, and second in the 100-meter dash, running 11.06 seconds, while Justin Villers rounded out the gold medalist in the discus with a mark of 54.41 meters. The men had two ace standard performances on the day, both in the hammer throw, as Grant Wickham hit a mark of 54.35 meters, which was good for fourth place, with Tyler Summers hitting a mark of 53.03 meters, good for fifth. Wickham also finished his day with a second place finish in the javelin with a mark of 54.27 meters. Sanford and Paul Plaucha rounded out the second place finishers, as Sanford finished with a time of 15.03 seconds in the 110-meter hurdles, while Plaucha in the 200-meter dash finished with a time of 22.03 seconds. Well, the winter weather just never seems to go away, and it continued to wreak havoc on schedules this weekend as baseball's originally planned doubleheaders on Saturday and Sunday in Mitchell, South Dakota against Dakota Wesleyan were moved to Hastings on Sunday and Monday instead, due to all of the snow that dropped in South Dakota over the last week. With only a few GPAC games remaining for the Broncos, these doubleheaders against Dakota Wesleyan would be crucial in the race for the GPAC tournament, with the Broncos sitting 5 games back from 8th-seeded Mount Marty, and only the top 8 teams making the GPAC tournament at the end of the season. With all of that on the line in Sunday's games, the Broncos did not help out their situation, falling 8-0 in 7 innings in Game 1 on Sunday, a game where the Broncos held the Tigers scoreless until the 4th inning, but that's when Dakota Wesleyan proceeded to blow the game wide open, putting 8 runs on the board in the final 3 innings. Things didn't get any better for Hastings in the second game as Dakota Wesleyan put up 7 runs in the first inning before taking the game by a final score of 9-0 to drop the Broncos to 7-23 on the season. It's been a tough season for the Broncos thus far. They had some young potential from last year's team coming on to this year's team, and you have to think it's been frustrating the way this season has gone.
Graduating 12 seniors from last year's 24-26 team, you had to expect some sort of drop-off from the team. But I don't think even they could have expected what has happened this season. Reporter Cameron Bradley tries to get some of the answers from the struggling baseball team.
For the Hastings College baseball team, the 2019 season has been less than ideal. Holding a 7-25 record in the middle of April, and with just 8 GPAC games to go, the Broncos are in serious danger of missing the GPAC tournament for the first time since 2012 and for the first time in Coach Spongberg's career. Currently sitting at 10th in the GPAC standings, 8 games back from the 8th and final spot in the GPAC tournament.
Well, it obviously hasn't gone the way we'd hoped it to be, and there's a variety of reasons for that. The main one we're working on right now is we have a lot of inexperienced guys. We have kids that haven't had a lot of varsity experience, but at this point in time in the season, when you've played 25 ball games, you've got to be better than what we've played.
A lot of challenges have come with having such a young team, starting 3 to 4 freshmen a game. And while that may be a problem this season, it could lead to the Broncos making strides in seasons to come.
Yeah, a lot of the struggles of this year is we just have a lot of inexperience. A lot of people don't have a whole lot of at-bats, a lot of innings on the mound. But next year we're basically returning almost everybody in the field and almost every pitcher we have. And so I think that's going to pay a lot of dividends.
With all the young athletes, Coach Spongberg still isn't quick to say that this is a rebuilding season.
And rebuilding is one that we had mentioned. We would like to say that, but I know when I came, we had hoped to get ourselves in a position where we could compete every single year. So this is certainly a step backwards for us.
For most teams, a season like this can separate the players, causing arguments and frustration. Not for the Broncos, though. The Broncos have instead decided to focus on each other, showing support rather than turning against each other.
Biggest thing about this team is we all love each other and we all have each other's backs, and even when things get down, we're always there supporting each other, and that's how good teams get out of bad situations.
We have about 3 weeks left in the season, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that if we got on a streak where we started to play better, that we could sneak into the conference tournament. We're going to have to play much better than we have up to this point.
For CTV Sports, this is Cameron Bradley reporting.
Not only has it been a tough season for the baseball team, but the softball team has been struggling this season as well. The Broncos had a pair of doubleheaders this weekend, with one on Saturday at Dakota Wesleyan, which was moved to the PC Dome on campus of Presentation College. and the next one Sunday against Jamestown, which was played in Sioux City, Iowa. Going into the weekend, the Broncos sat at 11th place in the GPAC with the race for the 8th spot still anybody's game, sitting 2 games back with 10 GPAC games to go. It was a late start for the Broncos on Saturday night, getting their first game going at 8 p.m. in the PC Dome. And while things looked up for the Broncos at the start, holding the Tigers scoreless through 4, while getting 2 RBIs by Julie Raymer and Tatum Bender in the 3rd inning to take a 2-0 lead, things fell apart after that. With 2 outs in the 5th, the Tigers got an RBI single, followed by a 2-run blast to take the lead at 3-2, and from then on, Dakota Wesleyan dominated, taking Game 1 6-3 as the Broncos were led by Bree Bailey on the plate, going 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored. The Tigers continued their winning ways into the second game, not even letting it go the full 7 innings, taking it 12-2 and 5 as the Broncos were led by Alyssa Carter in that game, going 2 for 3 at the plate.
On Sunday afternoon, the Broncos traveled to Sioux City where they took on 4th place in the GPAC Jamestown Jimmies. And while the Broncos were able to keep it close, Jamestown proved to be too much in Game 1, taking it 5-3. Hastings was able to keep things competitive in Game 2 as well, keeping it close until the bottom of the 6th inning where the score was just 6-3. But once again, Jamestown proceeded to put up 5 more runs on the board and sealed the game in 6 innings, winning the second game 11-3 and dropping Hastings to 10-20, making it an even tougher scenario for the Broncos to make the postseason. So a very tough season for both baseball and softball up to this point. While both teams have struggled at the end of the season, both men's and women's tennis teams have made strides. With 3 GPAC matches to go for both teams headed into the weekend, they both control their own destiny for a regular season GPAC title, with the women holding on to the top spot in the GPAC standings and the men just a hair behind #1 Doane as the Broncos took on Northwestern in the Puff on Saturday. It was a close match for the women as the Broncos edged Northwestern 5-4, taking a 2-0 lead because of 2 forfeit matches by the Red Raiders due to a lack of players. The Broncos proceeded to go 1-1 in doubles as the team of Kelsey Brown and Megan Peter got the 1 doubles victory by defeating Ingram and Holscher of Northwestern 8-6. In singles, the Broncos went 2-3 with victories by Kelsey Brown with a score of 6-1, 6-0 over Jackie Ingram, and Megan Waterhouse sweeping Kendra McInnes by scores of 6-4, 6-2. These victories plus the 2 forfeit victories were enough for the Broncos to squeeze past the Red Raiders.
While the women won in a tight battle, the men showed their dominance on the court, taking all 9 matches over the Red Raiders on Saturday. Going 3-0 in the doubles with 8-0 victories by the teams of Carter Mason and Dakota Burns, Adnan Mehmetovic, and Elijah Bailey, and wrapped up by the team of Jerod Fox and Brandon Lovato. The Broncos then only dropped 4 games in the singles as Mason, Mehmetovic, and Burns won by scores of 6-0 and 6-0, while Bailey took his match over Caleb Curlson 6-1 and 6-0. Lovato took his match over Evan Rich 6-0 and 6-2, while the man himself, Jerod Fox, finished the day out by defeating Aaron Scourge 6-1 and then 6-0. Good stuff.
I do what I can.
The women have just the #5 and #7 ranked teams in the GPAC to go before claiming a regular season crown, traveling to Doane on Tuesday and then taking on Midland on Saturday, while the men have a tougher task, taking on #1 in the GPAC Doane on Tuesday and then #3 Midland on Saturday, with both of those teams still undefeated in the GPAC along with Hastings. It should definitely be an interesting week of tennis for both teams.
From one country club sport to another, what a weekend it was for golf, with Tiger Woods taking the prestigious green jacket at Augusta. This may have been the most memorable weekend of golf the world has seen in a long time. And while it may not have been Augusta National, the golf team here at HC still had themselves a good weekend in their final regular season tournament at Doane for the CHCC Shootout, a little over a week before GPAC number 3 and 4. The Broncos finished tied for 3rd with Midland B out of 6 teams on Saturday, with both teams shooting a 27 over par score. Daniel Mastrobono had the best individual performance for the Broncos, finishing his day 3 over par with a 75 stroke total, which was tied for 5th place overall with Doane's Ty Crandon. 2 other Broncos were just inside the top 15 as Daniel Whitehall finished his day at 14th with 7 over par, Zach Swanson finished at 15th with an 8 over par score, while Spencer Dock finished just outside the top 15, tied at 16th with Chase Largan of Doane, shooting 9 over. Skylar Good rounded out the Broncos, scoring 12 over par, tied with 3 others for 21st place.
That's all from us here at Studio B in the Gray Center. Overall, the Broncos didn't have the greatest weekend, going 2-6, but track made it up with some solid performances.
Make sure to check out the Collegian's social media pages, give them a follow, and also be on the lookout for the latest CTV, airing every other Friday along with the Collegian newspaper, which is published every Friday and can be picked up almost anywhere on campus. For DaeRon Jones, I'm Jerod Fox. Have a great week, Broncos.